everyone, so this is the K631 software, and you can download this on the redragonshop.com website. I'll have it linked in the description below, but there is, if you scroll down the page, there's a download tab and it'll take you right to the keyboard software download link. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how to use this software for those of you who are interested, who might have this keyboard. So one of the things is that if you download the software and you don't have the keyboard plugged in, obviously you can't use it. So you just have to make sure that you have the keyboard plugged in wired, because the K631 Pro does have 3-mode connectivity, so it can connect using Bluetooth, 2.4 GHz connection, and wired. So you just want to make sure that it's connected using the provided USB-C cable in order to use this software. So one of the things that you'll notice, it has 3 profiles. So you can have up to 3 saved profiles for your keyboard. We're gonna go ahead and modify the second profile just so you can see from a blank slate what it looks like. So I'll show you first the lighting effects on this keyboard, and then I'll show you how you can modify the macros for this keyboard. So if you go over here and you click light and you check the box, you'll notice that one of the cool things I really like is that you'll notice that it shows the actual RGB effect on the software, which I thought was really neat. So if you go to this drop box down here, there's actually a bunch of different settings that, and pre-programmed RGB effects that you can have on this keyboard, which is awesome because I love RGB. So let's go to fixed on. So you'll notice that as you're playing with the software, your keyboard is going to mimic the exact same thing as you see on the screen. So right now, even though you can't see it, my K631 Pro is showing the still RGB setting. And one of the cool things that you can switch between RGB and a static color. So if you go over here and you click off the RGB checkbox, you can actually have your keyboard set to just one color, and you can change the colors to whatever you want. There's also a color picker over here where you can manually select which color you want, or input in here the RGB values for the color you're choosing, which is really neat. But personally, I just like to keep it on RGB because I like all the colors. And also here you can select the brightness with 4 the maximum setting and 0 being off. So I'm just going to scroll through all the effects, and you're going to see on the screen all the different effects that this keyboard has. So I'll do that. And in patterns such as these, you can also change the speed at which the animation plays. And for the effects that require key presses for the RGB to light up, you can just go ahead and press the keys on your actual physical keyboard, and the effects will show up on screen and on the keyboard. And you'll notice for some of these you can't toggle off the RGB effect, so you can only have RGB on those ones, but for other ones you can toggle it off. And then the last option that you have other than off is a self-defining option, which this is pretty cool. So it gives you 5 definitions that were pre-programmed into the keyboard, and these highlight like different keys that you might use if you're gaming and you only want to be able to see which keys you're actually using in the game that are lighting up instead of having the whole keyboard lit up. So if you go to define one, you can actually self-define each of these keys and the color that you want. So if you click on a key, that toggles it on or off. So this turns on keys to light up a certain way, and these turns them off. And if you want to switch the color, you just come over here, select the color that you want, and then re-click those keys, and it'll light up in the colors that you selected. So another thing you can do with this software is you can actually write down your own macros and upload them directly to the keyboard. And in order to do that, you want to go over here to Macro Editor, click on that, and you can see that I already have a macro that I made earlier when I was testing out the software. So in order to make a new, like if I click on this, you'll see that it actually comes up with the exact control keys that I pressed and for how long I pressed or let go of them for, which I think is pretty cool. So to start, if you want to create a macro, you right click on macro list and select here, new macro. We want to enter a name, so I already did copy, let's do paste. Press enter for OK, and now you've created your new macro. Now to start recording, you go over here and press this checkbox. So now whatever key I press on the keyboard, it's going to record that. So I'm going to hit Control V. And you'll notice that as I press those buttons, it automatically recorded for how long I pressed those buttons for, what buttons I pressed, and for how long they were, until they were released. So let's hit stop record and hit save. So this saves this key pressing sequence to this specific macro paste. And one of the things you can do is if you forgot to, if you want to insert a new event, like a new key press, you just click this drop down menu right here. And you have several different options here for what you want to press. So let's say I want to do a key press down. I click this, I input what key I want, so I'm just going to press C on my keyboard, and it inputs that there, press OK, and you'll notice that it inputted a new sequence right after the V is lifted up. The C will have been pressed down. Now let's say that you made a mistake and you want to remove a sequence that you have inputted. Just click on the sequence you want to remove, right click and hit delete, and that gets rid of it for you. Alright, so let's save this and I'll show you how to upload those macros to specific keys on your keyboard. So the important thing you want to do is that you want to get rid of the light checkbox, because if you double click on these keys, nothing's going to show up. So you want to uncheck this light box, and even though the light has gone away on screen, my keyboard is still showing that RGB sequence. So even though you can't see it here on the screen, on the software, it's still going to show on your physical keyboard. So the next thing you want to do is, let's say I want to replace this 1 button and this 2 button with copy and paste respectively. So you click on the key, and you'll notice this pop-up show up. And you have 3 options. You can do a manual key assignment, you can upload a previously set macro that you made, or you can set it to one of the media keys that they have. So if we select key assignment, this is for more of your simple keystrokes. So if I wanted to, I wouldn't have needed to use the macro. I could have just said Control C and then hit OK, and it would upload that sequence to this key. But if you want to have, if you have more complicated macros that you want to upload to certain key presses, you can just go to this macro list and it'll show which macros you've already created. Just click whichever one you want and then hit OK, and it'll automatically upload that macro sequence to that key press. And then you also have a media option where if you click this window, this drop down menu will show up of different media keys you can set that key press to. But let's just say I want to set it to copy, so I just go over here to my macro list, hit OK, and now this key press, whenever I press the 1, it'll automatically overwrite whatever key press was on here previously. So when I press the 1 button now, it doesn't input 1, but rather it inputs the sequence Control C. Now if I want to do the same thing over here with the 2 button, but with paste, I just go over to macro again, select paste, hit OK. It's as easy as that. Super friendly software to use. Now make sure that once you set your macros that you apply all these changes to your keyboard so that they actually upload to your keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit apply, and a super quick loading screen is going to show up, and once that closes down, you'll know that the software has been updated on your keyboard and all the macros that you previously set will be uploaded. So now whenever I press 1 and 2, they don't do anything, they just do copy and paste. And if you ever want to restore your software to the factory settings, just go over here, the bottom left, there's a restore button. Just press that. It'll pop up a window asking, are you sure you want to restore? And if you're, just for confirmation, and if you are sure, just hit OK. And it'll restore your keyboard and erase all the macros that you had written on the keyboard back to the factory default settings. So now when I hit 1 and 2, it'll go back to typing 1 and 2 respectively. So yeah, that's the software tutorial for the K631 Pro. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, feel free to type it down in the comments and I'll be sure to respond promptly. But yeah, thank you for listening to this tutorial. Once again, hope this was helpful and hope you enjoy your new K631 Pro keyboard.